All right, welcome back everybody. I got two sets of 3-inch pod lights mounted on my truck, and I've got a 12-inch bar light mounted above the license plate as well. I've got them all wired up. Initially, I had them all on there temporarily and just like zip tied and stuff and wired up with wires outside the truck or just all over the place. But today I spent a lot of time really cleaning everything up. I took the cowling off, put all the wires in looms, zip tied everything where it needs to go, got it all set. I hooked up the pod lights. They have a daytime running light capability, so I tied that into one of the auxiliary switches to see what that looks like. So I'll show you that in just a second, but I wanted to go over what you get with it. Obviously, you get covers for the pod lights. You get amber covers for the pod lights as well if you wanted to use that. I didn't get a cover for my 12-inch light, but that's fine. The wiring harnesses are actually really good. They come with all the relays you would need. They come with the switches you would need. The wiring is all put together really well. They have heat shrink on a lot of it. Everything is in some shielded insulation. It's all pretty good, like 16 gauge wire as opposed to like really cheap 20 gauge wire, something like that. So it's easy to work with. It doesn't fall apart. Like a lot of times when you strip wire, a lot of the little wire strands come out with it if you use too small of a thing, or if they're just kind of cheap or you bend them and they fall apart. This is pretty decent wire. I didn't need half the stuff. Well, I didn't need 90% of the wiring harness because we already had the auxiliary switches and we already have the relays in the Ranger Raptor. But if you just had a regular truck or a regular vehicle that you were just going to wire this on your own with no switches, everything you need is here. The terminal to go to the battery are good gold plated. And then you've got your relays and you can just mount them on the firewall. And then you run your switches inside to somewhere on your dash through the firewall as well. And you have everything you need. You just plug it in and you've got your own switches and you're good to go. But like I said, I cut most of this out. Like this is all extra that I don't need now. The plugs are really good too. I was looking it up on Amazon. You can buy these plugs. They're not super expensive, but they have really good reviews. The seal is really good, so they're definitely going to be waterproof. Like I said, I'm happy with them. I did a lot of research. I looked into KC lights, Rigid lights, Baja Designs, all those. Those are amazing, but they're also really expensive. For the price, I was looking at Auxbeam and Rough Country and a couple other, and the more I looked through them, the more I liked the Auxbeam. And then I also have some Rough Country lights from one of my dad's old cars, trucks, Jeeps, whatever. And I used that for a little bit, but they just weren't as bright. They didn't feel as good. They were just, I don't know, something about them. The build quality wasn't quite the same as these, but those were about 6 years old, so that might have been a part of it. Anyway, I'm going to take you and show you what I did to the truck itself. All right, so I'm going to start it, and you can see. Oh, I guess I have, so that's with all the lights on. I'm going to go switch the auxiliary switch off for the high beams. Okay, so the light bar, this is just the daytime running light on the light bar. And those are the daytime running lights on the pod lights. To me, I think it's a little too much. If all I had were those, it might be kind of cool, but right now it has way too much going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable the daytime running lights, definitely on the pods. I don't know if I want to keep that one or not. I think it looks kind of cool, but it kind of contrasts with the marker lights. And with everything, it's just too much, like I said. I'm not going to do it today, but I am going to disable those, I think, just because I'm not hooking it up to the blinkers, and it's just a little over the top. So I want to show you, I also mounted 2 of them on the back, and there's a threaded hole right here that the bolts that come with it tie into. So I just threaded that bolt right into the bed rail, and it's on there. I haven't wired these up yet, but this is not for off-roading. This is not for anything other than being able to light up the bed if I'm doing work out here and it's dark. There's just not enough light. The only light you have is shining down from up there. So those 2, I can angle them down so they're not right in my face, and that'll work well. But now I want to open up the hood and show you how I wired this and how I cleaned everything up. All right, so I had the cowling off today and I did a video, so I'll show you that. Got all my wires zip tied. I got any little tiny loose wires in like loom, so it's not just red and black wires all over the place. In here, it's already kind of tucked in. I didn't want to mess with it too much. Over here, one more loom, and then everything goes out through right here. And now I'm going to work on the connections to the auxiliary switches. But anyway, I put everything in this wire loom, and then I put some tape over it too, just to really make it not look like it's a bunch of, you know, crummy wiring in here. So back here, this wire loom is what I'm using for the daytime running lights on the pods and everything. And then this is the wiring for the pod light. It goes up right there, comes up to here. Everything goes through. There's a frame rail right here. It goes through there, and all the wiring is in here. And I spent some time cleaning that up. I put it in looms again. So everything is good. I have the wire for this one coming straight up. You can see the wire right there. That's kind of a bummer, but I couldn't find a way to really hide it. That's the only spot you see it. So it comes up, comes in here, and gets plugged in. Everything for the main lights are wired through auxiliary switch 6. Everything for the daytime running lights, and then these little amber lights is auxiliary switch 1, which is right here. And that's really it. I'm kind of an idiot. I spent about an hour and a half running a wire from the trailer hitch wire hookups, thinking I would use the turn signals for that to wire up the turn signals for this and bring an auxiliary wire from there to run the daytime running lights on this. I got it all the way up, zip tied, everything really nice, up into the engine bay. And then I went back online to figure out which one was left and which one was right. And I realized this is blinker and brakes. So if you're sitting at a stoplight and you have your foot on the brakes, a trailer should have your brake lights on and one blinking. But that's not what your front lights should be doing. So it was not the wire that I needed. And to be honest, I don't need extra blinkers up there. It would have been cool. I was kind of thinking it was going to be pretty rad having it, but then I realized it was not to be. And I didn't know where to tie into blinker lights up here without having a wiring harness that I could tap, like unplug something, plug, you know, some aftermarket thing in that gives you a wire for left and right blinkers, and then use that. So once I get that, I might do this, and I'm excited. I ordered a pillar, or I guess not a pillar, but I ordered struts so they tie into the bolts that hold your hood up, and then it comes down to here, and it's like pneumatic struts up, and it goes back and comes around on top so you can mount a light on it. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 kind of thing. One of the guys left a comment on my earlier video telling me he got it, and then we chatted a little bit on Facebook, and he told me who to talk to and where to get it. So I'm really excited. So basically, it's going to go here. There's going to be a pneumatic strut that comes down so you don't have to use the prop stand anymore. And then it also comes around up the back, and then I will be able to get rid of this little pinchy clamp and have this light on an actual clamp. So that's going to be cool. That will really finalize this. And when I do that, I will probably also take the grill off and move this light, or get a bigger, maybe a 20 or 30-inch bar light from Auxbeam and put it behind the grill. Somebody else said he got a 32-inch light from Harbor Freight, I believe, and it fit perfectly using the factory. There's 2 factory holes with bolts down here and down there. So if I can use those with, you know, a 30-inch Auxbeam light, that would be super cool. So I'm going to look into that as well. I might just order it. If I can't use it in the front, I might use it in the back. You can never have too many lights. Even if I just hook it up in my garage and just create some 12-volt circuit in my garage so I can have extra lights, because right now I use that silly battery thing. But that's it. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys think, no man, leave those running lights on, they're pretty rad, that's cool, but I think it's a little too much for what it is. Definitely looks like I'm trying too hard, and that's not the look I'm going for.
It's over!